It's a game of skill, deception, and chance, one that's been called the mirror of human nature itself. But few realize that the game of poker, now played in glittering casinos and smoky home games across the world, has a history far older, murkier, and more mysterious than most imagine. Who actually invented poker? Was it born in the rough riverboats of the American South, or does its true origin lie in the palaces of ancient Persia? The answer, as it turns out, is as unpredictable as the turn of a card. For centuries, poker has been more than a game. It's been a language of power, psychology, and probability. Today, we associate it with Las Vegas, million-dollar tournaments, and sunglasses hiding a player's tell. But to uncover poker's real story, we have to journey back through time, to the early 1800s, when the United States was still young, and the Mississippi River was its restless artery of commerce and chaos. The birth of a game on the river. The first written reference to poker appears in 1829. It comes from an English actor named Joseph Crowell, who described a game played in New Orleans using a deck of 20 cards, 10s through aces, and 4 players betting on whose hand was the best. Crowell didn't call it poker at first, but the rules and betting structure were unmistakable. From the docks of New Orleans, the game spread like wildfire along the Mississippi River, carried by gamblers, merchants, and soldiers. Riverboats at the time were floating microcosms of America, a mix of wealth, crime, adventure, and invention. On these drifting saloons, poker found its soul. It was a game perfectly suited for the age, fast, ruthless, and democratic. Anyone with a deck of cards and a silver coin could join in. In an era when social class dictated most of life, poker offered a rare kind of equality. The cards didn't care if you were rich or poor, only how you played them. But where did this mysterious 20-card game come from? The roots beneath the surface. Historians trace poker's ancestry further back, across oceans and centuries, to a collection of older games that shared one key element: bluffing. The most likely ancestor is a Persian game called As-Nas. Played as early as the 16th century, As-Nas used a 25-card deck with 5 suits and involved betting rounds remarkably similar to poker's. Persian sailors and merchants who came to New Orleans through French trade routes may have introduced the concept, blending it with European card traditions already in play. Meanwhile, in France, a popular game called Poke flourished in the 1700s. French settlers brought poke to Louisiana, and its name, with a slight American twist, is where poker likely originated. Poke involved bluffing, betting, and strategic deception, traits central to poker today. The word poke, used by card sharps and thieves to describe taking money from the unsuspecting, might also have influenced the name. It's as if poker was born at the crossroads of culture and cunning. But poker didn't stay confined to New Orleans. By the time of the American Civil War in the 1860s, the game had evolved dramatically. Soldiers from both the Union and Confederate sides played to pass time and forget the horrors of war, spreading the rules far and wide. It was during this period that key poker innovations appeared, the draw and stud variants, creating the foundation for the modern game. The rise of the modern game. As America industrialized, poker transformed from a pastime of gamblers and drifters into a national obsession. The invention of the 52-card deck and the introduction of the flush and straight made the game more strategic and complex. By the late 19th century, poker had moved from smoky saloons to gentlemen's clubs and private parlors. Mark Twain, in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, famously mentioned the mighty, interesting game of poker, cementing it in American literary culture. When the Wild West was at its height, poker tables became the center of myth and legend. Figures like Wild Bill Hickok made poker part of frontier folklore, though his death, shot in the back while holding aces and eights, the now infamous dead man's hand, reminded everyone that poker wasn't just a game. It was a gamble with life itself. By the 20th century, poker began to professionalize. In 1970, casino owner Benny Binion, organized the first World Series of Poker, WSOP, at his Horseshoe Casino in Las Vegas. The event brought together America's best poker players, including legends like Johnny Moss and Amarillo Slim, and turned what was once an outlaw pastime into a sport of strategy, patience, and psychological warfare. Television brought poker into living rooms across the world. And then, in the early 2000s, the internet changed everything. The digital revolution online poker exploded after 2003, when an unknown accountant named Chris Moneymaker, yes, that was his real name, won the WSOP main event after qualifying through a $39 online satellite tournament. His victory, broadcast around the world, ignited the poker boom. Suddenly, millions of people believed they could do the same, beat the pros, outthink the odds, and change their lives from behind a computer screen. Platforms like PokerStars and Full Tilt Poker turned the game into a global phenomenon. The digital age also gave birth to data-driven strategy. Players began analyzing probabilities, using software to study hand histories, and treating poker not just as a game, but as a science of human behavior. Poker evolved again in the 2010s when artificial intelligence entered the scene. In 2017, an AI called Libratus, created by Carnegie Mellon University, defeated some of the world's best human players in No Limit Texas Hold'em. It was a symbolic moment, proof that even the most psychological game could be mastered by machine logic. Yet, paradoxically, it also reaffirmed poker's human essence, our desire to compete, calculate, and connect through risk. So, who really invented poker? That question still doesn't have a single answer, and maybe it never will. Poker wasn't so much invented as evolved. It's a melting pot of human ingenuity, a blend of Persian As-Nas, French Poque, German Poken, and American daring. Each culture added its own flavor until poker became something greater than the sum of its parts, a game that reflects both our intellect and our instincts. In a sense, poker's true inventor isn't a person at all. It's the human condition. Every era that adopted the game shaped it to mirror its own values. The bluffing and strategy of the Persians, the sophistication of the French, the boldness of the American frontier. Poker absorbed it all, just as it continues to evolve today through data, technology, and psychology. The legacy of the game. From riverboats to cyberspace, poker has traveled farther than any gambler ever dreamed. It has been banned, glamorized, and reborn countless times. But at its core, the reason poker endures is simple. It tells the truth about us. Beneath every shuffle and every bet lies a reflection of human nature, our courage, greed, restraint, and deception. Poker isn't about luck, not really. It's about reading people, managing fear, and daring to take calculated risks. It's about the eternal tension between logic and emotion, between what we know and what we feel. And maybe that's why poker has outlasted its rivals, why it continues to fascinate scientists, storytellers, and dreamers alike. It's not just a game played with cards. It's a quiet, relentless duel between the self and the unknown. So the next time you sit down at a poker table, remember, you're not just playing a game. You're taking part in a centuries-old human experiment, a test that began long before Las Vegas was built, long before chips replaced coins, a game that asks the oldest question of all: how much are you willing to risk to know the truth? End reflection. Poker's invention may never be pinned to a single person or place, but perhaps that's the beauty of it. Like life itself, poker's origins are uncertain, its path unpredictable. And yet, from those first hands on a Mississippi steamboat to billion-dollar tournaments watched around the world, it's become a timeless reminder that in every gamble lies the story of human ambition, to think, to risk, and to play the game better than before.